Okay, now after we've taken a look at a brief overview of all the equipment we have and the animation from Paratech, we'll kind of go through and make the application for ours. It's going to be a little bit of a role play here because we're simulating this is our vehicle stabilization, and we're going to put together our bits and pieces. So we have one of our struts, our extensions, two bases, and a ratchet strap. So first we'll come and get our strut. And extension together. We'll put one of our base plates on, one end. On these struts, there's no top and bottom, so it doesn't matter which strut goes where, or if you have the collar on top or on bottom. There's pros and cons to both, and we can discuss that later. But for now, we're going to go this way. We're going to put our 4-in-1 tip on this end. Again, listening for the click, checking to make sure it works. Then we're going to bring our strut into our vehicle, our simulated vehicle in this case. Capturing our load, like so. And then if we wanted to come a little bit further out, or we needed to go higher, we just do this with manual pressure. We don't need the air hoses in this application. We just tighten down the collar and tighten that up. Now, to make sure that this doesn't kick out straight back or left or right, we best do tension in two directions, or you could just tension in one direction, similar to what you saw in the animation from Paratech. We'll go with the ratchet strap that we carry on the rescue. It goes through the anchor ring. I'll bump over on this side. Carrying our chain on both sides. Then we're going to manually tension, just like with any other ratchet strap. Take the slack out, try and keep the switch out as well. And once you get pretty good pressure, just start clicking in. So you have good tension. You can test your strut, make sure it won't kick back out. And so we have a nice base of support, being our triangle. Again, I saw it in our Paratech video. We'll also see it in a Rescue 42 video. We don't have Rescue 42s, but they have good lesson plans, so we'll take a look at their video next. But this is using our equipment, what we carry on the rescue, what we recently received for vehicle stabilization.
Stabilization is about stopping and preventing unwanted movement. A good way to think of this is to use a triangle or pyramid. A pyramid with a narrow base or footprint is not very stable and can be tipped over easily. A pyramid with a wide footprint is much more stable. In the past, it was relatively easy to stabilize vehicles that were not on their wheels. Often a couple of wedges pounded under the car were sufficient. The surfaces on these cars were relatively flat and were made of fairly thick steel. This provided a solid surface against the ground when they rolled and provided good resistance so that wedges could be pounded in for stability. We call these cars bricks. When you do extrication training in a junkyard, you're almost always training on bricks. The cars that are being manufactured today are more like beach balls. Sides and roofs are thin steel or plastic, which act like springs when they roll and bounce. They're very round, which causes these vehicles to have a narrow footprint when they end up on their sides or roofs. Wedges are often absorbed by the dent-resistant panels, which eliminates their effectiveness. The best way to stabilize the beach ball cars is with tension buttresses. A buttress is simply a column tipped over with its top anchored to the car. We commonly call these struts. We then use a tensioning device, such as a ratchet strap, to pull the base of the strut toward the car. This compresses the strut between the car and the ground, applying force against the car in both a sideways and vertical direction. The flatter the strut angle, the more side force, while a more upright strut applies more vertical force. Using two or more struts on opposite sides of a car causes these forces to cancel each other out and squeeze the car like a vise. This creates a pyramid with a very wide footprint, producing a very stable car so that rescuers can perform their job safely and with minimal risk of having vehicle motion further injure the patient.